This is Justin.
And this is Haley. You're listening to The Price of Avocado Toast.
We're a married millennial couple wanting to normalize the conversations around money. We want to hear about your highs and your lows,
The do's and the don'ts on your path towards financial freedom. Hi Toasties, welcome to The Price of Avocado Toast.
Whether you're a first-time listener or you've been following us from the start of this thing, we're so glad to have this conversation with you today.
We did it.
We did it.
We moved.
We are moved. We're officially moved. We're officially in a different county.
We're sitting on the floor in our new house.
Yeah, it feels very poetic to be sitting on the floor recording our last episode for season 1.
Well, I really wanted this to be recorded in the empty house, but I realized that was just ridiculous. There was no time to record our podcast as we were moving and packing everything up.
Yeah.
But in my head, that's what I envisioned.
Well, it seems very poetic to think of it that way, too. Yeah. So I like that. And I should say, we're moved, but I'm still back there, teaching and back and forth between the two houses. So, yes, we're not in the same home, but we're still around Sonoma County.
Can you kind of elaborate on that and tell people what that schedule looks like for you right now?
Oh, yeah. So with my return to school, cohort A is Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday is our async cleaning day or sanitizing day. So we don't have to teach from our classrooms. So Tuesdays, when I get off of work, I just hop in the car and come up here to the house so I can stay with you in Calliope for the overnight. And then I leave Wednesday nights at 7 and drive back home and get ready for cohort B Thursday morning. So I get the middle of the week off to be with you guys, and then I'm shooting up on the weekends. So Friday, when cohort B is done, I drive up here and hang with my family on the weekend.
It's not too bad because it's really just like 2 nights at a time. Sunday and
it's
Monday.
It's not too difficult.
And then Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
And then every other time we're together. But it does kind of suck.
Yeah.
But it's really short term.
It is. And I leave so late on the nights that I'm gone that it's like Calliope's already like almost in bed anyways. So yeah, it hasn't been too difficult. But we had to wait to release this episode, you guys, because, oh my gosh, all of the stuff that's going on. So we're recording this on May 8th, finally.
Finally. This is a re-recorded version. We originally recorded this episode on the 21st of April. So over 2 weeks ago.
Ridiculous.
But we're finally recording it because everything is said and done so we can spill the tea, as I've been saying on the Instagram.
Yeah, there's so much. There's so much.
There's so much. And to be honest, if you've been following us on Instagram, you know all the emotions that we've been going through, really through this whole entire process. But I was really angry towards the end. And now that everything is said and done, I feel like I've calmed down a little bit. But I was ready to, put these people on blast.
Yeah, same.
Full on. And we will be giving you guys the information. But, if you're in Sonoma County and you're looking for an agent and you want to know who not to work with, you can contact me. But I'm not going to put that information on our podcast publicly. But we were very frustrated with these people. Yeah. To say the least.
For sure.
So how are you feeling now that everything is said and done?
I'm just glad it's done. I'm so tired from all of the stress of it all, and I'm glad it's done. And like I've told you the past 2 days, it's finally something that's off the checklist, but now I just want to get to the end of the school year and get the baby here and just be done with the move and the year. Yeah.
Everyone's been following me and how I feel about this, so I just felt like you needed to add that in because this has not been easy.
No, it definitely hasn't been easy. But I'm also not 9 months pregnant, so
very true.
Been a little bit easier for me.
About to pop. Anyway, we have a lot to say about this process. First and foremost, we did not know what we were getting ourselves into, and that comes with buying a home for the first time. You don't know what to expect until you do it.
For sure.
Selling a home for the first time is the exact same thing. We had no idea what to expect. I thought we were going to put the house on the market, and it was going to sell immediately, and we would be on our way, and that was not what happened. And that might be what's happening around for a lot of people, but that was not the case for us.
No, that definitely wasn't our our experience. And it's interesting because I kind of felt the same. Like, it seemed like everything we saw on social media was like, homes are going so fast and so easy and the transactions are so smooth. And that, like, couldn't have been further from what we experienced. So, yeah, it's just,
That's for sure. So last time we recorded, we talked about like how we didn't choose the highest person. We ended up going with the fourth highest offer. That's kind of where we left things off. After the offer was accepted, that started the shit show.
yes.
The offer was accepted. It took a couple days to get them to sign the papers, and that should have been the first red flag that things were going to be a little slow.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, you have even said on numerous occasions when you signed the documents, it was like an e-doc thing that you signed at a stoplight on your
Yeah,
phone.
it's so
Took
easy.
2 seconds.
It's so easy to sign.
So the fact that things were getting delayed was just a little weird.
Very.
And that was from the beginning. So can you tell everyone about the quote issue that we
Yeah.
encountered first?
So the first issue that we ran into was an issue with the realtor on their side. And so there is part of the sidewalk that's in front of the old house that is lifting from former tree roots. And now we've been unsure, is this a homeowner issue? Is this a Santa Rosa City issue? We've got, people saying that, oh no, it's homeowners, but then we had neighbors say, well, they repaired the streets though, so it might be still under the city's jurisdiction. Anyways, we got a quote for it, and it was kind of on our to-do list, but then we decided to sell the home. So the next homeowner was going to have to do it, and they had somebody come out and give them a quote on it, and they had that quote turn up at about $2,800. So naturally, they reached out to our realtor and said, hey, we want a $10,000 credit, which makes no sense. What they were arguing was they wanted a credit for that and an issue in the master shower that we had already disclosed during the inspections. We already knew about it, and we said that the price of the home was reflecting that cost as well. So we said we're absolutely not going to settle at $10,000. We eventually met in the middle after some negotiations with the realtors, talking at $5,000. So we're thinking, okay, cool. $5,000, we're going to settle that credit and we can move on to the next part of it all after the inspection contingencies. But their realtor took forever to take care of the paperwork, to get it to her clients, to sign that. And she actually took so long that we had to send them a notice to perform, which is basically a legal document saying, hey, if you don't do what we're telling you you're doing, what we've agreed to do, in the next 24 hours, we're backing out of the sale and we're going to the next highest bidder. And so we essentially had to threaten her that, hey, your client's going to lose their home because you're not doing your job. And eventually she did do her job. But that was the first issue.
It was like it was 5 days later than the original contracted agreement.
Yeah.
And this was on Friday. I called our real estate agent and I'm like freaking out. And I said, we're going to move tomorrow. I need to know that these people are going to do what they said they were going to do, because if they're not, then I'm not moving. I'm not going to go move 3 hours away and be away from my husband unnecessarily if this house isn't going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so the buyer's agent confirmed and said these people are serious. They're ready to move forward. They got the agreement, and our agent gave us the green light, like, hey, you have nothing to worry about. These people are serious. You can go ahead and move tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't our agent's fault, because she legitimately thought it was going to be okay, because the other agent confirmed that they were serious. But looking back, I wish that we had waited because it was 3.5 weeks later that we actually ended up closing.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. What's done is done. So the next big delay was a huge issue that happened with the appraiser. Now, in our original agreement, they didn't have a contingency for the appraisal, but technically they still had to have the home appraised for their lender. It was very weird. I didn't quite understand it. I thought we weren't going to have it appraised at all. But instead of doing like a numerical, your home is worth X amount of dollars type of appraisal, it was more just like a quality. Like your house is ranked on the quality of the home. So when it came back as the lowest possible rating. Like,
Yeah, like it was just some
a legit
junk
shack.
Home. Yeah.
And so the lender from the buyer's side actually reached out to our agent and was like, "Hey, did this guy come by? Because these numbers are not matching. This is not a report for the home that you have listed. Like, there's no way that this is what it is." And basically, long story short, the guy mixed up our house. Like, this is not a little thing. This is a $500,000 house being sold. And it was just like, oops, my bad.
I should have known something was up though, because I was there at the start of him like getting to work on the appraisal, and he went into the garage and didn't turn on the lights to look around. And I was like, "Here, let me turn on a light for you." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay." And I was like, "I'll turn it on." Like, why would you not turn on a light, you dingaling?
It was very weird. Like,
Very weird.
we had our house appraised before when we did the refinancing, and that took about an hour.
Yeah.
And this guy was in and
a
out
while.
in 5 minutes. He did nothing. He took no pictures. He just had this little like laser that did the measurements of the house and was in and out. So anyway, somehow he mixed up our house with someone else's house, and it caused a week-long delay because then they had to verify everything.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I mean, I guess mixed up sounds weird. He submitted the wrong report. He submitted a report for another home to the lender that was handling our loan. And so it looked like it looked like, yeah, that report was written for our home, but it was just switched reports. So it was the right guy, and he did go to the right house. He just submitted the wrong report.
Yeah, completely the wrong report.
Yeah, but that backed us up another week.
A whole entire week, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we had a whole another 2-week delay. So we ended up closing over 3 weeks later than planned. So the next one was the lender, and this one really pissed me off towards the end. And there's nothing that we could have done to speed this up. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that the buyer could have done anything to speed this up.
No.
So their lending company just royally sucked and failed on their part, and I feel really bad for the people that were buying the house because according to our original agreements, they wanted a 20-day close. So I firmly believe that they wanted to get in there quickly.
Yeah.
And because of the lenders that they worked with, they were unable to get in quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a 2-week delay because I don't even know what the issue was. They just were not processing things quickly. And then towards the end, they had 2 processors that were out sick for a couple of days. And because of that, that delayed us back a whole nother 5 days. And it just kept delaying and delaying. And I kept thinking, like, you're a bank, you're a lending company. You can't just, like, not close on a loan because someone's sick. You have to find someone else to do it. It just didn't make sense to me.
Well, the weird thing was, too, is we were reaching out to the escrow company saying, like, hey, like, do you guys need something from us? What's the holdup? And they were straight up like, I'm just waiting on an email. I'm just waiting on an email with some docs so that we can process the documents, get them all put together so that we can have the buyer come and sign. Yeah, an email.
Yeah. So that was really frustrating.
Yeah, that was a big, big issue for us, for sure. And again, you're right. I mean, the buyer probably had nothing to do with that. Like, there's nothing I don't think that he could have done that would have changed, the way that the lender's sending out documents. And I mean, obviously, I get it. We're in a pandemic, and somebody was sick. I don't know if it was COVID related, but somebody's sick, and give them some grace. I get it, right? Totally okay. But they told our realtor that somebody was sick and was out for 2 days. And we posted on Instagram the morning we had a notary here signing documents with us. And we closed, weeks after that. So, like, somebody was sick for 2 days, but y'all couldn't do your job for, like, 2.5 weeks. Like, that just doesn't sound professional to me. It's just unacceptable. Really unacceptable.
And such an opposite experience from when we bought our house. Like, our lender was phenomenal. And she's actually on a previous episode when we talked about the home buying process, Kelly Pennington. If you guys want to listen, I think it was like our
I
fourth
think
or
it's 5,
fifth.
right? 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause that was
really
Gabby
early
and her.
on,
Yeah, you're right. I
fourth or
think it's
fifth
4 or 5.
episode. But she was amazing. She had great communication skills. Everything was so clear. We knew what was going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything could have been done differently, it wasn't on our part. But from the buyers, I would definitely recommend if you're looking to buy a house, make sure you have a good team. And that does not just include the real estate agent. A lot of people
No.
think it's just the agent, but the lender is a huge part of this too. If you're financing your house, they need they need to communicate what's going on. This is a huge thing.
Yeah, I think that if you're buying a home, the dream team includes so many different people between your realtor and your home inspector, your pet inspector, your lender, the escrow company that you want to use to complete documents,
the appraiser.
The appraiser. There's so many different things that you might need and people that are going to come into play. You've got to really do your homework finding people that can be on your side. And I mean, I don't know, maybe the buyer felt differently. Maybe he felt like everybody was working on his side and he was happy with the work they did. As people who have purchased a home before, though, I don't know if I'd feel like that because I don't think that anything in the time that was delayed drastically changed anything other than keeping them out of that home longer. And we gave them a key. They had a key to the home the whole time. I reached out to our neighbors and was like, is anybody there? Like, nope, nobody's coming over. Nobody's here. So I'm sure for them it was frustrating too because they have a key to the home and they're, not over there because of a lender holdup. So it really, really is important to just assemble a dream team.
What would you say makes a good real estate agent?
A good real estate agent? Oh,
someone asked.
The number one thing is open communication. It is so stressful, and you have to be able to voice your stress and to voice exactly what you're thinking because at the end of the day, it is your bank account, it is your livelihood, it is your future. You do not need to be tiptoeing around anybody. So you've got to be able to have open communication, I think.
That's a good one. I would definitely just say communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be with someone who you trust, honestly has your best interest at heart, and is not just looking to collect a commission paycheck.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I feel like so many people do go into real estate because you get a large chunk of money with each sale, but there's so much more to it than just selling a house.
Yeah.
They have to be able to communicate and fight for you and have those really awkward conversations with the other side. And yeah, they have to just have great communication skills, not just with you, but with everybody.
Agreed completely.
And okay, so our final delay, which really frustrated me, but then I thought about it and calmed down a little bit, and I really think that it was no one's fault. But the last delay was we were waiting on some final funds. And in my mind, I thought, like, is there no money? What is going on? How would you, why are we waiting for funds? You already processed the loan. The funds should have already happened. But I think, I don't know this for a fact. I'm assuming that it was the down payment cash money that was waiting to be, like, wired from their bank or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe there was, like, a delay.
Yeah. Another thing that I was thinking was maybe sometimes maybe the escrow company wanted, like, updated tax returns now that tax season has happened for some people.
Oh, that's a good point.
Maybe they wanted that information and they were waiting till they got that more recent tax info versus last year's tax info. I mean, there could certainly be a multitude of reasons. But the buyer at that point had already put down, like, $30,000 in earnest money straight up front. So I'm sure, yeah, it probably was maybe something like you said, just wire transfer from the bank, the rest of the initial cash deposit that they had for the loan.
But all we got, the only information we got from our agent and the information she got from their lending company was that we're waiting on funds. So I'm like, what do you mean we're waiting on money?
Yeah.
What do you mean we're waiting on money? This should have been processed already.
And the crazy thing is, it was like every day feels like 7.
Oh my God.
When it's like, okay, we might close on Monday, we might close on Tuesday, looking like it's going to be a Friday close, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't take this anymore.
I said on Instagram that Friday turned into Monday 3 different times.
Yeah.
And then Monday turned into Wednesday.
For real.
Over and over and over. And so it just was, one thing after another. And I also briefly touched on this on Instagram, but there was a point towards the end, the last week, where I called Justin and I'm like, we got to figure out a plan B because I didn't think this was going to close. I was fully convinced that there was something was going to go wrong and I wanted to have a plan B in place. And for me, I was like, okay, does that mean that we tell them we have to do a second notice to perform? And if they don't do it, then we pull the whole deal? Because we can't, once you're that far in, we can't pull out as sellers.
Mm-mm.
Because there are a lot of laws that protect buyers in that case. So sellers aren't just like, just kidding, I don't want to sell my house and taking it off the market. But there are very few times in a deal where a seller can pull out because of that. And so that would have been one thing. Like if they didn't meet our expectations in the contract, we could do a notice to perform. And then if they didn't do it, we could have pulled out. So I was like, okay, do we pull the deal after doing a notice to perform and put the house for rent? Like, I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it was stressful.
Yeah.
It was very stressful.
Can you talk about the money part, like dwindling funds and how that felt? Because that did not feel good.
That was, I mean, we had planned for the move to happen around mid-April and to incur some expenses at that point, which were going to be, obviously we paid April mortgage and April rent here at the house. So that was, paying for 2 different homes in that month. We knew that was going to be expensive. We knew moving costs with a U-Haul were going to be expensive. We knew there was going to be other random costs like not having groceries up here at the house, gas back and forth, taking care of a couple things. And so we knew that there were going to be costs that were going to add up. And slowly, because we were still waiting for this money to come in, we got worried that we weren't going to be able to pay the May rent and deposit.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're renting from your mother, and so she said, hey, I know it will close soon. She was a little bit more calm, I think, than us, and she, let us write her a check once it finally closed. But that was terrifying. And, towards the end of April, the last few days of April, I know you and I were having conversations like, hey, I get my teaching paycheck at the end of April, so we'll be good there. We'll have money. But you really start to go back to those feelings of like drowning and suffocating when we didn't know what we were doing with our budget and the money's like in one hand and out of the other. And it just didn't feel good. And it was just such a firm reminder as to like why we're doing all this and making sure that we're never in an uncomfortable position with our finances again. And that was through no fault of our own, right? Like we had to pay rent and a mortgage for 2 homes. And so there was nothing we could have done, but just having those feelings come back up really wasn't fun.
What's really scary when I put the numbers out there and talk through it, we were prepared.
Mm-hmm.
We had over $10,000 in our account at the beginning of April set aside. We had our expenses set aside for $8,500 for the month. So we were still going to have a little bit extra. And then we had to get my car fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That was $1,200. So come towards the end of the month, it's not like we didn't have any money going into this and we were like, oh, just oops, it went away. Like we had enough. We had way more than enough money.
Yeah.
And a couple of people asked why we paid the mortgage. And I actually asked our lender, Kelly, who we worked with buying our house, do we have to pay the mortgage the month we're like planning on closing and selling? And she advised me to pay it because technically you have to pay it until it's closed. You have like 30 days until it defaults and gets reported as like a missed or late payment. But thankfully we did pay it because we would have defaulted if we didn't.
Yeah.
But we did not pay it for May. We were waiting, knowing like, okay, we have 30 days before this is like a problem. So I'm sitting there going like, oh my gosh, are we going to have to take out a personal loan to pay my mom and then pay the mortgage that's about to close? And it just was all of these ideas going on in my head that I didn't even want to think about. Very, very unpleasant, stressful feelings about money.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was a reminder that I never want to feel like that again.
For sure. Thank goodness that Kelly advised us to pay it because, I mean, it very was. I mean, it was like she was kind of looking into the future. Like, yeah, things might happen. You never know. It's always good to just pay it if you have the money and get a larger return back later. And geez, was she ever right?
Yeah. I'm definitely glad we did that.
Yes. Shout out Kelly if you're listening.
Yes. Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, seriously.
So, moving was it was a wild ride.
It was. And thank you guys so much for all of your support on Instagram. I mean, being away from Haley was hard, and I just appreciate everybody reaching out and, supporting my pregnant wife who's trying to deal with a baby and another one on the way and 3 dogs and a home that I'm not at. It was just nice to be able to kind of like check in and see everybody that was, like rooting for it to close and supporting us and letting you vent on Instagram stories and stuff like that. I was just really glad with the community and the way that they connected with you during a difficult time.
And you guys beyond supported us. I mean, we had someone send us money to go get dinner.
Yeah, it was really
while we
sweet.
were moving, and someone sent us Venmo to go get some coffees to just chill out.
Yeah.
And that's totally unnecessary, but so appreciated. It was just the little things that really helped us get through this, and definitely the community that we've built was part of it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if that human listens to the podcast. I know.
Oh, she definitely listens.
Okay, I was like, I know that you guys have connected a lot on Instagram, and I don't remember her name exactly. And even if I did, she's
an anonymous person.
Yeah, I
on
was like,
Instagram,
she might be
so
totally
I won't say her name, but I love her, and she knows who I'm talking about.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure she wants to remain anonymous, but yeah, if she does listen, that's pretty rad. And thank you, thanks for caring about my wife, because I appreciate you.
They care about us.
Well, yeah, for sure. But you're the face. You're the face behind the social media.
Oh, well, thanks.
I'm just the guy who says dope.
It's too funny.
So, you guys, we have a couple more things we wanted to do with this final episode for season 1. We wanted to kind of just ask each other 3 blind questions. Now that we've gone through almost a year of podcasting as a couple in this financial space. So, neither of us know the 3 questions that we're about to ask one another. You are getting just the straight, raw, uncut answers from these questions. Do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay.
And first,
I meant that isn't like a, do you want to start answering first and I'll ask you first.
Sure.
So I'm glad we're on the same page.
But first, do you think we have any of the same questions?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I think one of them is the same.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 1 for Haley Brownwoods. What's the biggest hurdle you think we overcame?
The biggest hurdle? What is that referencing? Podcasting or life?
You get to choose.
Oh, man.
What do you think's the biggest hurdle we overcame?
This home sale process has been, I think, the hardest thing we've ever gone through together.
Wow. More than the police academy.
The police academy I was really prepared for.
That was stressful, though.
I was really not prepared for this.
Okay.
Because buying a house was easy, and so I thought this is going to be easy, and I was so wrong. Yeah.
You know what's funny is we both, all day, we've been like, dude, I'm so tired.
I'm exhausted.
I'm so tired. Like, my body is like, you need to sleep more, dude. It's just wild.
Yeah. I mean, I read books about the police academy, and I was mentally prepared for that.
Yeah.
I didn't read books about this.
No, you read books about definitely not selling your home, for sure. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Do you want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay. For you, what has been the most rewarding part of the last year? This whole journey, the financial freedom, the podcasting, everything. The most rewarding part.
The most rewarding part has been just my newfound development for fulfillment. I don't desire things like I used to. And they're, everyday things, right? Like, I don't want a brand new car. I don't want, lavish trips or, my house filled with stuff. I just want, and maybe that's because we have Calliope now and I recognize, the joy of being a father, but I really just want like you and our daughters, you know what I mean? So that's probably been my biggest, awakening, if you will.
That's really sweet.
I try so hard.
But I see that in you too. Things are not as, I don't know. We wanted big elaborate things, and now we're in a very outdated house. I'm very happy with it.
Incredibly happy with it.
It is. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I came in here and didn't totally cry. The first day we came in, I was so exhausted, and I'm so pregnant, and I just walked in and was like, oh my gosh, this house is just not what I wanted. But I had to really take a minute, cry for a minute, and then get over it, because
Yeah.
this is a stepping stone in a huge improvement in our
Yeah.
future.
I agree. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Question number 2 for Haley Brownwoods. What are your goals for the podcast moving forward?
Wow. The goals for
Do you
the
not have that question?
I don't have
Okay, that was the one that I thought would be the
Oh.
same. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Goals for the podcast.
What are your goals for the podcast moving forward?
Well, my goals for the podcast are to continue building a great, strong foundation of listeners that continually listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care as much as I used to about like the numbers and the downloads. I care about just building that community and having people come back weekly and have conversations with me. So I just want to keep doing what we've been doing.
That's pretty cool.
It's not like I want to get to 1 million downloads or I don't want sponsors. I don't see any of that. I just want to keep growing the way we've been growing authentically.
It's kind of like that saying, like, you wonder if the journey is worth the destination or if the destination is worth the journey.
Very true.
Right? Like, it's just kind of interesting, right? Like, it is, when it comes to goals for the podcast, do I want this to grow into some huge thing? Or do I just want to continue to, like, go on this journey? And whatever the destination is, it doesn't matter, because the journey will be what has been worth it.
I mean, I know firsthand from the conversations I've had with people on Instagram that we have deeply impacted so many lives already.
That's cool.
And, like, that has made it worth it.
That's cool.
Like, it doesn't need to be 25,000 downloads or a bunch of followers on Instagram. Like, those people that come and feel comfortable. For example, someone I was talking to yesterday said, I know you're not my financial coach or anybody specific, but I need to tell someone this. My husband just got a raise, and it's like $25,000 a year, and I'm so excited.
so
I have to
cool.
share that with someone. And to just be that soundboard
Yeah.
and conversation with someone, I mean, sharing that information with me, they've never met me.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so, I don't know, it makes it all worth it.
I love
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Okay, is it my turn?
It is.
Okay. Would you do anything differently out of this past year? I know we screwed up a lot before this past year podcast journey, but
Anything different out of the past year?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I don't think so.
I don't think I would either.
I've been really happy with the steps that we've taken. I mean, I know there might be something where I'd be like, oh, maybe I could have done that, but nothing that's like glaring. No, I've been actually really glad with the stuff that we've done. I think we've made some really wise choices and really looked into things before kind of leaping and making decisions. So, yeah, I would say that's the only thing okay, here's one.
Okay, I'm ready.
I mean, I think it was good of us to take Financial Peace University, but I won't do it again because I don't support Dave Ramsey. I think it was still a good decision because we learned a lot, right? But if we hadn't have done it, I wouldn't have been like, oh, bummer, now knowing everything I know.
So things have definitely worked in our favor. Like, everything has pretty much fallen in line where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even this home sale process, it still worked out. However, do you ever think back about how I wanted to get that teaching job and didn't get hired this last winter for the spring?
Yeah.
I think about that recently. I mean, I think about it all the time, and I'm so glad I didn't get that job. That would have screwed with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, not getting that job, so that little like bump, which wasn't even really a bump,
Yeah.
made it possible for us to do so many things with the home sale.
I agree.
So
Yeah. That's a good point.
I've thought about that.
Yeah. Very cool.
I think you have one more.
Question 3. Who is your dream interview? Who do I need to go politic for season 2 of The Price of Avocado Toast? Who's your dream interview?
My dream interview. Wow. Okay. A super fan.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who listens. Because I really don't want to just bring all these people on who don't know who we are.
Yeah, for sure.
That feels disconnected
Mm-hmm.
for me. Some other podcasts do that, and that's great for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to have people on the podcast who genuinely listen and know our story and all of that. So someone who hasn't come out yet, but someone who listens all the time and they are a super fan, Toasty, please message me. I would love for you to be on our podcast.
Do you have somebody in your mind of who that is?
Yes, but I don't want to say their name because they're anonymous people on Instagram.
Okay. But if they're listening, we'd love to have you.
Yes, I would love to have people that come on that message me regularly. If you message me on Instagram regularly and you haven't been on our pod, come on the pod.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do it anonymously.
Yeah, we can.
We interviewed with someone and just used their first name and didn't take pictures or anything. So we've done that before.
Yeah.
But we can give you a fake name.
Yeah.
You could be Britney
I'll
Spears.
call you whatever you want to.
Avocado.
Or like the notary said this morning, you could sign this Donald Duck as long as you're consistent with your Donald Duck signature.
Okay, so we didn't have any of the same
Bummer.
questions. But I'm impressed. I thought we were going to get
I did too.
Okay, ready for my last one?
Yes.
What is the biggest thing you've learned or the most valuable thing that you're taking away from this past year?
The biggest thing
So
I've
it's
learned.
a little different than the most rewarding.
Yeah, the biggest thing I've learned. In a very literal sense, podcasting takes time and energy, and building social media takes time and energy.
Yes.
And I think that people have this idea that social media coordinators or whatever for companies just kind of like sit around messing around all day. No way. Trying to build your brand and, use data and, consumer practices to get people to connect with your stuff is really hard. And it takes a lot of work. So shout out to anybody who works in social media and has to do that for a living. Shout out anybody who has to edit things for a living. Bearcatshark, like a phenomenal audio engineer who we had to call constantly and be like, dude, help us out.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be paid for the skill and the time it takes to do that stuff. And it's not like they're just sitting around having fun all day long. It is work. And they are trying to use, like I said, they're trying to use data to build somebody's brand and make them money. That takes effort and, skill.
And a lot of time. That's a great one because I think a lot of people think that people who have their jobs on social media, whether we want to call them influencers or micro-influencers,
Content
whatever.
creators.
Like that they don't really do anything. No, they do work.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to plan everything out and sometimes I'm like, I have no idea what to post.
And schedule it all out and separate time so that you can edit things and connect with people that you want to connect with so that your brand grows.
Yes.
It takes time. It takes effort. I'm cool with being a teacher. I'm cool.
Okay, I do want to mention that the moment that we kind of stopped, I don't really know that we ever, this is just part of our learning journey, but I don't know that we ever really were like perfectly curated content or scripted out things. But the moment that we started showing who we were, our faces, and stopped worrying about like when to post things or if it looked good on the feed, or even with podcasting, like let's just go rogue and record instead of something that's super detailed and scripted. That was when people started to super follow along.
Because it's authentic.
Yeah, it's not some BS. It's who we really are. And that's, so if you are making content, that's what people want to see. And that's what they want to hear.
Yeah, they want to see your authenticity and they want to see what you're really going through, be it good, bad, or otherwise. Yeah, I agree. The inspirational quotes are nice, but I can go look up an inspirational quote by The Rock all day long. I can't hear, somebody say, hey, you know what I did that was a huge mistake, and I don't want you to do the exact same thing with your $600,000. You know what I mean? Like that really says something. Yeah.
Agreed.
Awesome. I really can't believe we didn't have a question that was the same.
I'm pretty impressed. I tried to be pretty generic with my question, but I thought for sure we'd have one that was the same.
Me too. Okay, so the final bit of information that we need to disclose in the season 1 finale of The Price of Avocado Toast, and it's the thing that I'm sure all of the listeners have been biting their nails for the past month or so, because I so eloquently teased it in the episode. And we should say, you guys, Haley didn't even know what I was teasing.
I edited out a part where I was like, I hope they're as excited as I am because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but this is important, and I want to share exactly why I did this. So my sister got started in the restaurant industry as a server and whatnot, but then eventually got into helping her wife at the time set up a pop-up restaurant. There was a space that was going to have open availability for a restaurant in the evenings, and she said, "Hey, I've signed you up for a pop-up restaurant, and in 3 weeks you go live. You need to build a menu, you need to give it a name, you need to shop, you need to learn how to cook it all, and you're going to do it." And it's now become a brick-and-mortar restaurant in Oakland called Fob Kitchen. It is incredible, incredible Filipino food. It is amazing, and they are just booming. And I'm incredibly proud of them. But what I was really proud of was the fact that my sister kicked her wife in the butt, basically, and said, "You need to go do this because you keep talking about it." She had been a server and worked in restaurants her whole life and was, really wanting to start a restaurant, but she never did. So my wife finally pushed her off the ledge and said, "Go do it."
Your sister pushed her off.
Yeah, pushed her off the ledge, yeah. So me teasing that was pushing Haley off of the ledge to do something that she's been talking about, you guys, for so long. And it's something that I really think she'd be great at. So I was just kind of making sure that she did it in this time that she's going to be home during the summer, and that I'll be home to help with the girls. So why don't you go ahead and share the news?
All right, guys. I am going to start a financial coaching business.
Whoop, whoop.
I don't know what that means, just like I didn't know what it meant to start a podcast, but putting this out there means that it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start taking a course here in a couple weeks. I'm going to go through building all of that, and then hopefully when season 2 rolls around or sometime early next fall,
Mm-hmm.
I will be able to share more information with you guys about what that entails. But sometimes you have to just start when you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Because that's how many good things get started.
Mm-hmm.
You won't know unless you start. So here I am. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means, but I will let you know as I do my journey. And find yourself a partner if you're single that pushes you to do things like Justin pushed me. Thank you.
I got your back. Well, I've told you, I think it's really important because you have a particularly good story, obviously beyond just, your relationship with me. I think that you've accomplished a lot of things in your life that speak to the strength that you have. And you and I have said the entire time that we've been together, and we still say it almost, once monthly, that you so eloquently remind me, you don't need me, you want me, and you choose me every single morning because you're not stuck in this relationship because of financial instability. You are just as successful as me in your career field. You, as I say, can teach circles around me, so there's no doubt in my mind you could always find a job and make ends meet were I not here. And I think it's really important that other, young women and young millennial women hear that they can do it as well, and that they have that strength. Because obviously it's, flashy and exciting to be like pro strong women, but I want our daughters to see their mom like that. And I want your friends who I know already believe this about you to see you like that as well. And I think it's really important. And I think that you're going to be able to do a lot of wonderful things as a financial coach and help a lot of people really feel confident and good about their situation. So I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to see it take off.
Well, thank you. I do really want to work mostly with women. I mean, 90% of the podcast listeners and the followers that we have on Instagram are female. So I want to work with women and couples, but I want to empower people to have that control over their finances to where they can choose to do whatever they want. You're never stuck in a relationship, because I know so many people who are married and miserable. And so you might see a shift on our Instagram looking like, hey, do this to protect yourself from divorce and all of these things. Your husband might die. He might leave you. That has nothing to do with me and Justin. It's me putting information out there because we are, like he just said, he's confident in our relationship enough for me to have these conversations without feeling like I'm about to walk out on him because I can do without him. Yeah. I don't need him. I never have needed him. I choose him every single day.
Yeah.
And that is empowering in itself because I don't ever want to feel stuck. And I really hope that I can help other women get in that position as well, where they can know that they can do whatever they want, but they are choosing to be with their person. A choice every single day, instead of like, oh my God, I can't wait to leave, but I can't because we need 2 incomes to survive.
Yeah. And I think what's important is while you're doing that, myself and other human beings that look like me and sound like me, aka men, need to do a better job of advocating for women in the workplace to get equal rights. Because I do think that that's another kind of subset of it all, that women obviously are not paid appropriately and equally to their male counterparts. And so it's not incumbent on women to do that work as well as the work of trying to run a home or a family or whatever they choose to do in life. It's incumbent on men to say, no, this is not okay. And we are going to, use our privilege or platform to clear space for the right people who deserve it. So while you're helping women in that financial coaching space, I'll just keep advocating for women's rights.
You're just a rock star.
I try so hard, man.
You do.
Thanks.
And I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, honey. Well, Season 1 of The Price of Avocado Toast is officially going to be, I don't want to say laid to rest. It's going to be put to bed for a little bit.
Yeah, we're taking a break. A lot of stuff has happened. I am so exhausted. I think this baby, our baby that's in my belly, her name is Kennedy. If you're just tuning in, I'm real pregnant.
Very.
And I think she's going to come early.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
It's
That's
probably good that we're ending Season 1 before she's here.
Yeah, because we have this home sale, we have this move, we have this baby, we have a lot going on right now. And I want to make sure that when we come back for Season 2, that we are refreshed and ready to go with some good content. And that it's not like forced to just put an episode out just because we have to. So we need a break. I know you're going to miss Justin. I don't think you've said it.
Oh my gosh, I haven't. You guys, let me just say, my last episode, I really wore out the word dope. So I'm sorry. I wore out dope and rad.
I thought it was pretty good.
Well, thanks.
People liked it.
Well, good. But I've been able to lay off this entire episode, so.
You didn't say it at all.
Well, until just now.
Well, say it one last time for the listeners.
That's so dope. You know who's dope? You guys are dope. Thank you so much for all of your support this first season. Thank you for all of the kind things you've said, all of the wonderful things you've shared with us and gifted us. Y'all are just great, and we really appreciate you so much. So thank you a ton.
Yes. Love you all.
Love y'all so much. That's going to do it for this season of The Price of Avocado Toast. As always, we are so thankful to have had this conversation with you, and so thankful and grateful and blessed and all of the nice words to be part of this community with you all. Happy budgeting.
You've got this, Toasties, and you are dope. Thank you for listening to The Price of Avocado Toast. If you vibed with this episode, share it with a friend.
If you're interested in speaking more with the financial coach, hit up our coach Ryan at MeFinanciallyFree on Instagram.